What's good, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Mystery Unsolved. This is it, folks. This is the last episode of the season for Mystery Unsolved. I am coming to you at a different time than I normally do. I decided to try this time out for at least once, so I am now streaming at 10 p.m. Just trying this out. Figured I'd do it on the last episode of the season. This is a very unique episode because we're not dealing with a disappearance of a person. We're not disappearing. We're not disappearing. We're not dealing with an unexplained murder, an unsolved murder. We're not even dealing with unexplained creature. This is something entirely different. Never before done, seen, or heard on Mystery Unsolved. Justin, what are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you. Tonight's Mystery Unsolved episode, ladies and gentlemen, drumroll please. Byron Priess's treasure. What the hell is that about? If you do know about it and you'd like to stick around, please do. But if you're as perplexed and curious as I am, do stick around because we are about to uncover the treasure that is Byron Priess. Without further ado, the last episode of the season of Mystery Unsolved. Mm-hmm. The Secret. The Secret is a treasure hunt created by Byron Priess. The hunt involves a search for 12 treasure boxes, the clues to which were provided in a book written by Priess in 1982, also called The Secret. These boxes were buried at secret locations in cities across the United States and Canada that symbolically represent events and people that played significant roles in North American history. Anyone who uncovered one of the treasure boxes was entitled to exchange it with Priess for a precious gem. Priess died in a car accident in 2005. His estate assumed the responsibility of honoring the terms of the treasure hunt. As of 2024, only 3 of the 12 boxes have been found. Priess kept no record of the treasure box's exact locations before his death, leaving it a possibility that the remaining boxes may never be recovered. So, yeah, I told you it was unique. So, apparently, this man, Byron Priess, decided to decided to do a little treasure hunt, a real life treasure hunt. Hid these 12 treasures all over the United States in 1982, 86, 82, 1982. I was not here yet. And basically wrote a book about it and said, hey, after you read this book, if you know where one of these treasures are or you think you do, go look. And if you find the treasure, see me and I will give you a gem, apparently. Very bizarre, right? Very, very bizarre and perplexing. But let's get into more details. Let's get into the treasure boxes themselves, shall we? As of 2024, 3 of the treasure boxes have been recovered. The first was found in Chicago, Illinois. The second in Cleveland, Ohio. And the most recent treasure box was found in Boston, Massachusetts. Hey! The remaining 9 treasure boxes have not yet been recovered. The Boston treasure box's recovery was filmed for Discovery Channel's television show, Expedition Unknown, and aired on Wednesday, October 30th, 2019. A recovery which only occurred due to the puzzle being featured in 2 previous episodes of the series. Over time, some of the casks may have been destroyed or been built over, as was happening with the Boston cask, which was buried in Langone Park in Boston's North End, which was undergoing renovation, resulting in the cask being dug up by an excavator. Clues would no longer match the cases where the surrounding area has changed since the book was originally published. That's true. Like, if the book was written in 82 and it's been years, it's like, landscapes, areas, regions, buildings, parks, they kind of changed from time, over the years. He would have been better off placing them in locations that you could kind of figure like wouldn't ever be like touched or like destroyed or changed, maybe. Similarly, boxes in like New Orleans, which faced mass destruction due to Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and New York City, which has undergone major renovations since the 1980s, have become extremely difficult to track. This table is the consensus from the majority of searchers, and it shows you a search. Interesting. So the ones that are solved, there's only three, where M and B are set in stone. That was in Chicago, Illinois, Grant Park in 1980. That was solved in 1983. That was literally a year after. The second one was solved in 2019. That was Pupolo, Pau Field in Boston, Massachusetts. Uh, I can't pronounce that. That was solved in 2019. And then the third one was solved in Cleveland, Ohio at Greek Garden, beneath two countries. Now, the rest of them are all unsolved, as I said, but there are locations listed. Now, I don't know. This table is a consensus from the majority of searchers. It says locations solved or likely. So I don't really know. I don't really know. I don't understand how it is that they have locations for these if they haven't been solved. How do they know that they're there? At Stonewall's Door in San Francisco, California, of all the romance retold, Charleston, South Carolina, Past Two Friends on Octave, in Elizabethan Garden in Roanoke Island, North Carolina, the first chapter, St. Augustine, Florida, The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse, anybody? Fortress North in Herman Park, Houston, Texas. View the Three Stories of Mitchell in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Lane, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. At the Place Where the Jewels Abound in French Quarter, Lafayette, New Orleans, Louisiana. And then finally, In the Shadow of the Gray Giant in Queens, Coney, New York, New York. So as you can see, there's a lot of them out there still. I just want to know, like, how do they know what the locations? That's kind of what I'm perplexed about, All right. Clues for no, we might actually get the answer here. The book. Clues for where the treasures were buried are provided in the puzzle book named The Secret, produced by Byron Priess and first published by Bantam in 1982. Oh, okay. The book was authored by Sean Kelly and Ted Mann and illustrated by John Jude Palenskar. All these people, bunch of people, contributed to the book. A Japanese version was published in 1983, and the English version was reissued in 2014. The book contains 12 images and 12 verses. An image must be linked to a verse, with the information they contain used to locate a buried treasure cask. Okay. All right, that makes sense. So okay. So obviously, if the locations weren't in the book, then obviously this mystery would be a mystery forever. People would have no freaking clue because they'd be like, where in the United States could these possibly be? So he provides the locations. So each city is actually legit. We know that much. The clues that are provided have been connected or linked to those cities. As for if, as I can't talk, Justin. I'm by no means a professional. It hasn't been said whether or not the verses are linked to that specific city. I would assume they are because it's been so many years. So yeah. Now, this is a very unique episode. We're only 10 minutes in and I'm already done. But let us think logically here. Let us if anybody watches this video and you are familiar with Byron Priest's treasure and you've been searching for it for years at any of these locations and you've come up short, let me give you some of my theories based solely off of nothing except for my own brain of where I think these treasures could possibly be in these cities. Now, I'm obviously about to give obvious duh, Justin. I'm sure people have tried to look there. And that's all well doing fine, but I'm still gonna do it. So let us look here, shall we? All right, first up, at Stonewall's Door, San Francisco, California. I'm not familiar with many locations in San Francisco. When I think San Francisco, aside from Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat, I think of two other things, right? I think of trolleys, but most importantly, I think of the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, at Stonewall's Door, could that be at the entranceway of the Golden Gate Bridge, maybe? Is that too broad? Is that too easy? I don't know. At Stonewall's Door. If no one's done it yet, and someone who has searched for Byron Priest's treasure is watching this video, and you haven't thought of the Golden Gate Bridge, there you go. Go try it. If you find treasure there, I want credit. I'm sorry. Like, give me something, please. For all of these. If I help you locate any of these treasures, I want credit somehow, please. Of all the romance retold, Charleston, South Carolina. I know nothing of South Carolina other than the fact that they started the Civil War because they were the first state to secede from the Union. That and their insanely racist people down there? I'm just saying what we already know. That's all I know about South Carolina. And they have a good football team. Of all the romance retold, is there a romance book that was written that takes place in South Carolina? Maybe? I don't really know. I'm not sure about that one. Past two friends of Octave, Elizabethan Garden, Roanoke Island, North Carolina. So this one's interesting because it gives you the specific location, which is probably one of the locations that have been changed or altered over the years. So they're like, we know it's here, but we don't know if we can access it anymore because of the location changing. Past two friends of Octave. I don't know what that means. Roanoke Island, North Carolina. Elizabethan Garden. So maybe it has something to do with maybe it has something to do with Roanoke. No, that's because that's Roanoke, Virginia. Elizabethan Garden. Maybe it has something to do with Queen Elizabeth and Sir Walter Raleigh. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. The first chapter, St. Augustine, Florida. I would say the St. Augustine Lighthouse. I know that seems like a duh, Justin. Don't you think anyone's thought of that? What does the first chapter mean? I don't know. No clue. Maybe if somebody wrote something of the St. Augustine Lighthouse, maybe it's in like a Robert Frost poem or Ernest Hemingway. Somebody surely wrote a poem on the St. Augustine Lighthouse or lighthouses in general. Let's go with that. Fortress North, Herman Park, Houston, Texas. I'm going to say maybe that was like a Civil War battleground, maybe? Or maybe like a Wild West type of thing. That's what that sounds like. View the 3 stories of Mitchell. I have no unearthly idea what that means. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if anyone who lives in Wisconsin, Milwaukee for that matter, and you know what this means, go search. Lane, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I mean, it's in Canada. Lane could mean something else entirely in Canada. Or is there a certain lane? Is there a famous lane in Montreal, Quebec, Canada? At the place where jewels abound. That is in the French Quarter, Lafayette, New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, so it says the French Quarter, Lafayette. Now, my memory is hazy, but was the French Quarter / Lafayette severely damaged by Hurricane Katrina in 2005? If it was, then yes, this treasure has probably been lost to time, aka Hurricane Katrina. Also, before I even read that, I immediately thought, I bet one of the locations of the treasure is in New Orleans, Louisiana. Because why wouldn't you go there to hide a freaking treasure, you know? I would go to the French Quarter, and I would try to search every possible aspect, if possible. At the place where jewels abound. Whatever that means, however that makes sense to people that are familiar with the French Quarter in New Orleans, connect it, go there. This one I can't, that's already been solved, thank God. In the shadow of the gray giant, Queens County, New York, New York. Gray giant, I have to figure, is a building. So what's the biggest building in Queens / Coney? Is it the Empire State Building? It's not the World Trade Center. Because that would be that would be unfortunate. I'm thinking it's the Empire State Building, unless I don't know where the Empire State Building is. But yeah, it's in the shadow of the gray giant. That has to be a building. And maybe it's like the like when the sun shines on the building, like, and there's like a shadow. It casts a shadow on like whatever main part of the building. Look on that side, I guess. I don't know. Very interesting, very different. I think it's really cool that a guy wrote a book for a real life treasure hunt that he created. And this goes way beyond geocaching, because I don't know if you're familiar with geocaching. It's like people go out and hide stuff, and then there's an app for it. You go onto it and you can find it, and then you can write down that you found it and you put it back where you found it. It's a whole thing. But this guy had geocaching long before it was a thing. This is like full on treasure hunting, which is really freaking cool. The only one I could search for is, it's already been solved, but in Boston, Massachusetts. And New Orleans and Chicago are on my list of places to visit. So if I ever find myself there, hey, maybe I'll search for them, you know? But yeah, this has been a very unique episode of Mystery Unsolved. I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you're not familiar with Byron Priess's treasure and what I've just said has interested you to start searching, you're welcome. And if you're someone who by some rare chance, some crazy coincidence, stumbled upon this, and you are familiar with Byron Priest's treasure, and you've been searching for it, and you've been kind of in a rut, in a dead end, stuck, I hope that I've provided you a chance to perhaps research for them. And again, I don't ask for a lot. I just want credit if you do, in fact, come across the treasure. Like Justin Bienvenu of Mystery Unsolved, the Plasmatic Writer, helped me find this treasure. Crazy. Absolute crazy. Nice 20-minute episode. This has been the last episode of the season for Mystery Unsolved, but I will likely be back either next Friday or the week after that, just to take a little break, and I will be back for more in the next season, because of course there's going to be another season, because this is what I do. For Mystery Unsolved, this is Justin Bienvenu.